So when we want to format the tables, and we're going to do this to all tables across the website simultaneously, the process is basically the same as we've seen before. You go to Quick CSS, you select the tag. In this case, it would be the table tag, and then you set the formatting options. And everything that's in here, is subject to use. You can use any of these properties. Once you have selected your properties, you go and make sure that the add choice is visible. You click OK, then you cut the code from here, paste it on a blank line in your style CSS, and then you save and preview. So we're going to do that to get started. The very first tag that we will format is the table tag. And so we select it from the drop-down menu. Because we're doing all tables across the website, we don't need to specify any class or IDs. And the one thing that I asked you to have was borders for the table. So in order to deal with the border, is the fourth column, the very first box in the fourth column. And what we want to do is we want to control all four sides of the table. You could basically determine different properties for different sides of the table, or the borders of the table. We just want to control all of them at the same time. So you enter the code, the color code that you had for your table, for the borders of the table, from your inventory of images and colors. Then you leave a blank space, and the next thing you want to do is you want to enter a width for those borders, and these we do again using pixels. And the bigger the number, the wider the border will be. So you can start with one and then maybe just experiment and preview it, and then come back if you don't like the width. And the next thing that happens is we have to enter border styles, and there's a number of options for border styles. Solid is one of them, and I'm going to show you how some of these look. These are some of the options that you can use for the borders in your table, and in basically any piece of content that you would like to have borders. This is a solid border, and what I've done is that I've used a 5px border so that the effect is very noticeable, but it will look differently depending on the width of the border that you choose. And the other thing is that it may not have the same effect if you use another color like black, for example. So you just want to try those and preview, see how you like them, and then change them if you need to. So this would be a solid border. This is dashed. This is dotted. This is a double border. If you wanted to force that double border in, whether a cell or the entire table, you can do that. This is what it looks like when it's grooved. This is the option ridge. This is inset, and this is outset, and this one makes the table look like a button. So these are some of the options that you have. I'm just gonna go with the solid one, and so I have my color, my width, and my style, and basically these three can be in any order. It doesn't the order doesn't matter here. One thing that you may want to do with tables is you may want to control the width. So by default, if you have a table, it will occupy the entire width of the page, and it just basically resizes. If you maximize the page, if you resize the window, the table will expand by default. But if you want to make the table just like this one, which does not accommodate does not extend to the whole width of the window, if you want to control for that, in the position box on the first column, you're going to look for the width property, and you can enter a percentage. So you would enter, if you want it to be 3/4 of the screen horizontally, you do the width, and then you choose percentage. And although there are other measures, units of measure here, percentage is the one that will resize more easily in terms of the percentage of the viewing part of the window. So that's something you can do if you wanted to. This is not necessary. And now here's where we go in order to control for those double borders by default. So it's border collapse and then collapse if you don't want to have that double border effect by default. And then this is where you would go if you wanted to select to view all borders even for empty cells. When you select border collapse, this doesn't make a difference, but if you were to leave this one blank, you would need to do empty cells show in order to avoid the empty cells effect. So I usually like the border collapse property, so I'm not going to worry about this. Then you basically, when you're done selecting all the properties or the attributes you want, the formatting options, you click OK. And notice that the table will basically adopt those formatting options that you just generated, and that's okay. It's just the way they have programmed this website. You're going to cut that code from there, and you're going to go into your styles.css page, look for a blank line, and you're going to paste that code. You save your page, and when this is done, you can go ahead and preview it. So this is what it looks like. We basically just received an outside border. There is no inside borders, and that's okay.